You reach for your phone to scroll through your feed. Just 5 minutes, you think. Next thing you know, we are waking as if from a dream. And it's been an hour. Has this ever happened to you? Good evening, my name is Maja Mazurkiewicz, and welcome to the Anatomy of Disinformation. This isn't just a side effect, it's the design. Algorithms are built to keep us engaged, and screen addiction is the price we pay. So can regulations like the Digital Services Act stop it? Or are we already too late? AI systems don't just respond to us. We might think that they are our friends, but in reality, they are well-designed systems that need to keep us online as long as they can. They track what keeps our attention and triggers emotions, often turning engagement into dependency. Our guest joins us to talk about all that and more.
Jacek Mańko, academic teacher at the Department of Management in Digital and Network Societies, Kozminski University. His work explores the impact of technology and digital media on society. He is interested in the critical examination of technological change, the hype around AI, and digital culture.
Jacek, welcome and thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello, pleasure is mine. Great to be here. I mean, online, but still.
Well, online, and exactly our life online is starting to be more important than the life offline for many. And I have a question regarding AI and algorithms. Do they really shape our minds?
I think in a more and more degree, right? I mean, there is a huge avalanche of, or actually flood of AI-generated content online. We hear at every corner that this is kind of skill that it's indispensable for your, future career. Here at the university, we observe, many students use it, or even I would say abuse it. Well, sometimes, scientists use it as well. So I think definitely there is, I would say there is a great challenge in the way those, tools, mostly chatbots, are sort of, penetrating, our both professional as well as private life.
And that's exactly a question about the private life, because the algorithms, where AI is also part of it, right? They are kind of trying to trigger our emotions and exactly lie down to the responses that we need, or we want to hear, or we need to hear.
I mean, sort of depends where do we encounter, those algorithms. If we, talk to a chatbot and we know already there is huge evidence that those chatbots are designed to somehow, hook us into the conversation. They become sycophantic. They are, simply validating us in our questions or whatever statements we might be exchanging, with them. At the same time, if we talk about, different kind of AI, the one we encounter on social media platforms, because let us not forget that the feed on social media platforms is also governed by recommenders or recommending algorithms, and they are also AI. And those algorithms are optimized for, different purposes. As we already know very well, they are optimized for, user engagement, which means they have to also hook user, but for a different purpose. They want to keep the user engaged in whatever is going on in the platform. And again, nowadays we have overwhelming evidence that what keeps the users engaged is mostly outrageous or is somehow scandalous content online. And this is why also we have both tremendous problems with social media platforms for many years now, but we also observe growing concern over sort of addiction or over reliance on chatbots for, again, many purposes.
Exactly, like in Japan, there was a lady that got married to the ChatGPT. And where are the borders for the tools like this?
Let us not forget that there are always some cultural issues, especially like in societies like Japan, where the use of robotics has been more and more, let's say, prevalent, popular for many decades now. But the point is, this is exactly, as you what you're saying is that we don't know where the borders are, because what's happening right now, we can say it is some sort of like experiment that is happening in real time, and however we are sort of participants in the in the experiments. So those tools are sort of like unleashed upon us, and then we experiment on ourselves, on our minds, our emotions, and sometimes even our bodies. Right now, again, I think it's still sort of like Wild West situation when there are no regulations. Very few regulations from the state, as well as again, in our private lives, we have to figure it ourselves. Which again is a problem, because this is not how it's it's not how it's supposed to work. We would need some more general overarching rules and like best practices, but the point is we still don't have those.
Exactly. So there is the DSA, for example, in Europe that is now starting to be enforced. Are the regulations that are existing in the AI Act as well? Are the regulations that are existing enough, or we shall go farther?
Well, depends. Because at the kind of personal level, if you want to get addicted to social media or a chatbot, probably you can, because there are very little forces that will stop you. However, from my perspective, we definitely need regulations. However, they won't solve a problem, because there's a great issue with implementing those regulations, as well as there is also a great lobbying against those regulations. For example, AI Act has been let's say diluted at the in the shortly before it has been passed, and so we now know there are many kind of loopholes that the platforms they will exploit those loopholes. So, but definitely we need. So I would think of regulations as a starting point, definitely. But we need, I think, even harsher, let's say, regulation of those platforms. Also, again, at the political level, because that's something which is again especially relevant nowadays.
So there should be more political pressure, but also, I guess, a pressure from citizens, perhaps, because what we also are seeing is the business model that is hugely dependent on our emotions, exactly, and our attention, and that's kind of the currency that they use.
This is, of course, true, right? There is this term we use it in academia, like attention economy, where our attention is the currency, and actually this has been a problem. As long as the internet exists, we still don't know how do we pay for stuff online. Not necessarily pay in a sense like we pay for a subscription, but how do we sustain internet as a sort of business model? And again, social media platforms, as well as actually chatbots. Chatbots AI companies, they sell subscription and also access to API, but we know already this is not enough for them, to become, let's say, financially stable. And social media platform, they sell ads on us, but this cannot go on forever. And even recently, OpenAI announced that they will introduce ads into the chatbot. So I think it's like an ongoing and sort of never-ending problem, which again, let me reformulate it one more time. How do we sustain internet as such as a business model? Who is going to pay for this, and if so, with what currency? Again, as you said, right now we are paying with our emotions, our time, and our our attention. But this cannot go forever.
Exactly. So what we can do? What do you think that can be changed in this?
Well, again, there are like many levels of kind of activity that everybody can, embrace. At the individual level, there is I would say whole movement nowadays, sort of lifestyle, I think we can call it right now, of so-called digital hygiene, where you consciously try to avoid or limit the way and the frequency in which you use different tools. People slowly they quit social media platform, or they go into stealth mode, such that they remove they keep the account but remove the photos. They don't post anything. They just use it to let's say have a look around what kind of events are being, let's say, announced in the neighborhood. So that's, again, on a personal level, that's something you can do. But at the same time, I think we should, as citizens, we should put some political pressure on our political representatives, whatever, let's say, level they are, such that we have to express very clearly that we want to feel safe online. We want our children to be safe, but not only children. We know also seniors are victims of different scams. I mean, everybody can become a victim of cybercrime. This is a huge ongoing problem. So I think to put it shortly, some sort of like combination of both like individual critical reflection towards those technological tools, as well as again never-ending unstoppable, let's say, political pressure that I think with the time it will create a momentum, and sort of like the vibe is changing right now again, so that we are again hoping as a society, expecting those platforms to be regulated and safe for everybody.
Jacek, thank you so much for joining us today. And let's hope that's going to happen soon. And for now, let's all switch off our phones for a while after this show.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Poland is urging the EU to act in response to a surge of AI-generated TikTok videos, which the government in Warsaw says are Russian disinformation. Let's take a look at how these videos emerged, why Brussels is being asked to intervene, and what it means for Poland's democracy as support for Polexit grows.
Jest to rocznica powstania tego zdradzieckiego rządu.
Polish authorities have raised the alarm over a wave of TikTok videos generated using artificial intelligence. The clips show young women created by AI wearing Polish national symbols and encouraging young viewers to oppose the European Union or support so-called Polexit.
Tak, chcę polexitu. Dość rządzenia Polską z Brukseli. Dość straszenia, że bez zgody z zewnątrz sobie nie poradzimy. To nasze prawo, nasze pieniądze i nasze decyzje.
For experts, the manipulation is noticeable. Unnatural facial expressions, stiff movements, and a distinctive artificial way of speaking.
Pytam jako Polka patriotka.
But for the average viewer, the line between truth and fiction can easily blur. The government says the messages bear the hallmarks of Russian disinformation.
Nie ma żadnych wątpliwości co do tego.
There's no doubt we're looking at Russian disinformation here. The agenda is 100% aligned with Russia's interests, not ours. Besides, if you pay close attention to the videos, the sentence structure is clearly Russian.
Here in the European Union, we have Digital Services Act that regulates the responsibilities of the administrators of all digital services providers, including social media platforms like TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, so Meta.
Poland has now asked the European Commission to intervene, arguing that TikTok may have violated the DSA by failing to clearly label AI-generated political content.
Couple of weeks ago, there was the first case against X that the European Commission put a fine on that for, I guess it was 120 million euros for not being compliant with DSA.
The concern goes beyond legal compliance. AI-driven disinformation can be especially powerful when aimed at young audiences, the primary users of TikTok.
Children and teenagers, they are like a sponge. They will just absorb any kind of information. So if they are flooded with multiple versions of given narrative, like with those Polexit clips, it can be significant and it can, let's say, slowly build inside their brains, let's say. And at some point, it can switch their way of perceiving the world and change their opinions or influence their decisions.
And this case is not isolated. Similar AI-generated campaigns have already targeted minority groups.
There were also campaigns on TikTok that would spread hate towards Ukrainian people in Poland, and they were purely generated by AI. The same channel actually also spread in disinformation targeted towards Jewish people.
With public support for Poland's EU membership still strong, but with signs of rapidly growing skepticism, the stakes are high. How Europe responds to this case could set a precedent, not just for TikTok, but for how democracies defend themselves in the age of artificial intelligence.
Offline laws give our lives structure and limits. But are new technologies and the online world regulated enough? The Digital Services Act is the first regulation of its kind in the world, but it's not the last. A quiet revolution in shaping the online world is already on its way. So what exactly is the DSA and how can it help us?
Justyna Kurek-Sobieraj, Professor, War Studies University. She's an attorney with over 15 years' experience in personal data protection, consumer law, and IP and IT law. Professor Kurek-Sobieraj is a long-time employee of government institutions and is a volunteer with the Friends of Integration Association, supporting people with disabilities. She's also involved in numerous cybersecurity, e-commerce, information security, and personal data protection projects.
Justyna, welcome and thank you so much for joining us today.
Maya, thank you very much for inviting me. It's a great pleasure to be here with you today.
Likewise. And we are talking today about the internet and its regulations. There's more and more awareness that internet is not a safe space. So can actually regulations make it a more safe space?
Well, yes, that's a very good question. I would say that internet is all of the time moving to really different directions. So one of the things I think we should point out is the new regulation which is since some months is in force, is the Digital Service Act, which gives internet users very good new power to handle with hate, to handle with illegal content.
So it's one of the first, or actually the first of this kind regulation in the world, but it's not enforced everywhere yet. But maybe you can first briefly tell us what are the most important things in there for both citizens and the platforms.
Of course. Well, actually, what is very important to point out is that this new act, the Digital Service Act, applies for intermediate service providers. So not to all of the content providers, but only for intermediate service providers. So the entities that do not publish their own content, but the content that is from that was produced, that was done from other entities. I think it is a very crucial thing.
So can you give the examples of it?
Well, exactly. The good example will be, for example, after our conversation. When you prepare the short film about, the short movie about our conversation, and the Polish television will put it on its own webpage, then the Polish television will be the content provider. But when you put it to the YouTube or I will put it to the Facebook, then the platform will be the intermediate content provider.
So exactly those platforms are affected. And is it like the shaping of those platforms? Is it try to make a change in the way how they are behaving? Or is it more of a political will as well of the Commission?
Well, I think what is important to say at the beginning is that this new regulation divide the platform and internet agent to different groups. And for each group we have different obligations. And I think that this is a very important thing. And the second very important thing is that we have a special, the most important for users, very big online platform and very big online search engine, which have special obligations and special supervision. And I think this is very important to understand it, that these very big entities have a completely different way of being supervised. The competent authority for the platform that have more than 45 million of users is the first choice competent authority will be also always the European Commission. And I think this is important because we should know it, that if any Polish internet user have a problem and want to delete some of the content from Facebook, from X, it is not like this that we can go to Polish competent authority, and even if we will have the Polish act, the Polish authority will be able directly to force this very large online platform to delete content from the internet.
But there are also obligations for the platforms.
One of the most important obligations from the platform, we should talk about this, I think the obligation of create internal compliance system. It means that all of the big platform have to have the special handle system, and if we as users have any problem, we must be able to send our request directly to the platform, and the platform had the obligation to give this decision. It cannot be as we want it to have, but the platform have to make a decision.
The specific regulations already have few years, so do you think that it's still all right in terms of the changes in the new technology and the way how the algorithms are behaving? Do you think it's still valid?
Well, I think it's still valid. I think that this regulation really, at this moment, is really starting to be enforced. We have first decision of the European Commission from December, again, one of the large online platform, showing that this regulation really works. But there are a lot of problems. I think the success of the regulation depends on the very good cooperation between member states and European Commission.
Exactly, and you said that the member states are slowly enforcing the regulation, right?
Yes.
You can maybe say which countries already do, and Polish president vetoed this regulation.
Yes, this regulation was vetoed in Poland, but maybe it will be not so popular. What I would say it's not so important for internet users. Why? Because the most important thing concerning to Digital Service Act is that the power to force big platform had the first time as a first choice authority the European Commission, and the second one the authority where the big platform has its headquarters.
But some platforms are having also the offices in Poland, so
offices, yes. But one of the big platform we have in Poland is of course Allegro. But the biggest online platform, even if they have the offices are only responsible for advertisement. But it's not the headquarters.
But in terms of the advertisement, because it's also relying, for example, to the political advertisements, right? So does it make an implication if Poland will not enforce the DSA on the Polish election level?
Even if we will have our authorities and we will notify officially our coordinator of digital services, unfortunately, even in the case of political advertisement, our authorities would have to use this internal coordination system to inform the competent authorities, because we will not be the competent authority.
And the platforms will need to anyway kind of comply with this Digital Services Act even in Poland, because they are, for example, headquartered in Dublin, Ireland?
This is the rule that was at the beginning involving Digital Service Act, that only if the platform don't have its headquarters in Europe, it would be allowed to take legal actions against the platform in all of the countries. If the platform establish a seat in Europe or a legal representative, then all of the legal actions have to be taken in those countries where the headquarters is.
Thank you so much for joining us and explaining what DSA is.
Thank you very much.
Now, let's see how to counter disinformation in the platform age.
Demand transparency from algorithms and platforms. Strengthen digital literacy and critical thinking. Treat disinformation as a democratic and security risk. Regulation isn't just about platforms. It is about who controls what we see, believe, and share.
Rules alone won't fix the internet, but they're a good start. Without them, the strongest systems will keep shaping us in silence. Algorithms won't change overnight, but it's good to know how they work. So next time you reach for your screen, keep calm and think deeply.